crashed the world economy. Maybe they shouldn't care for borders, but they still do. You think the workers who got laid off got paid? No. All right. And the last thing that I think we need to pay attention to is the decreased commitment to public education. Any economist who looks at the growth of the economy in the post-war era will tell you that the number one factor increasing productivity and wealth in this country in the post-war era was public education, the GI Bill. We sent an entire generation of young men, and women to college, and that allowed them to be more productive on their jobs and to put this economy into a growth spurt, the likes of which we have never seen. We are now putting, for example, more money into prisons and into higher education, and we think somehow this will not have an impact on the productivity and growth of this economy in the next generation. Our college graduation rates are falling. They are now, I believe, 16 in the developed world. Our college graduation rates are 22 to 23-year-olds. This is a horrible predictor of what's going to happen to the U.S. economy. The economy is becoming more high-tech, more skills. What we're doing is making college unreachable for the majority of people, lowering our college graduation rates, and allowing other countries to have a much better educated and trained workforce. A recipe for economic decline if I've ever heard of it. So we should think about how we are putting more tax dollars and how we are more going to prisons and more for health education. Majorly. So this is just some examples of this. This is the Ford Escort. This is the first world car. I had one of these things. Oh my God. They should send it back to the world. They advertise this as the world car, right? We have globalized. We understand it was a mess. There was also a mess. There are workers like Canada, that's the U.S. Canada is in there to show you that advanced countries do not have to decimate their union movements. Canada still has a strong and private union movement as to those countries. Shows you how bad the taxation is done. And that's the CEO salary and the back of the that's right for it. They also try to get it on a graph because that's the graph. Okay. There are a couple other things that contributed to the crisis that I just want to mention briefly. One is deregulation. Remember that public policy has the foundation for the financial crisis. First of all, because what happened is policy, the technical, what they allowed the banks and other major corporations to do. You can't underestimate that. And I can talk more about that in the next change. And I would also say another thing that contributed was a concerted, well-funded assault on the idea of democratic self-government that started in the Reagan era. Government is something to be drowned in the bathtub. They said that if you were to work with Katrina, really kind of amazing. But the idea that there is something fundamentally unethical about government and about public spending has become just dominant in the discourse, which I think is a tragedy and has caused us all kinds of problems. Okay, so what can we do about it? You all know how bad that is. What can we do about it? First thing we have to do is relief for homeowners. We need mortgage cram downs. And what that means is that nobody should owe more than the current market value of their house. That should be forced on most educated workforce in the world, as we were after World War II, which is why we had the economy we had after World War II. So if you're investing public education workers, we also need green energy investments. It's ridiculous that we don't have mass transit, that we don't we also need justice for American workers. We need labor law reform in a serious way. One part of labor law reform is increasing the minimum wage. We need to increase the minimum wage. We need to index it to inflation so that you don't have to go to Congress every time to get inflation. It automatically goes up. We do this with Social Security, with a lot of other things. We don't do it with the minimum wage. Isn't that interesting? So we need to index the minimum wage to inflation. And we also need to change labor laws so the workers can organize. Human Rights Watch declared the United States in violation of international standards and law because of how bad our labor law is. That workers are not protected, even their rights to free speech are not protected when they try to organize against it. We are the only fellow country in the world with this kind of horrendous reactionary labor law ever since 1947 Cap Party. And let me just give you an example. About a month ago, the International Labor Relations Board put out a ruling that employers had to inform workers of their rights to form a union. All they had to do was stick a piece of paper on a bulletin board that said, this is the way you're at, here are your rights. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals just overturned that and said employers have no responsibility whatsoever to tell workers that they have rights to organize. That's totally consistent with the way we treat unions and other kinds of worker organizations in this country. We need labor law reform. You know what hard check is, it's a good place to start. It's not a magic panacea, but it will help. We need the Democratic Party to start paying attention to labor law reform, which they have not done for a long time. We need to change finance. For example, one thing that's going on right now, this is a particular bugaboo of mine. Dodd-Frank, the Financial Regulation Act that was passed, in theory, it's a lovely piece of legislation, but they didn't use any specifics in that legislation. It's a bunch of principles, 873 pages worth of principles, but there's no definitions. And let me give you a simple example. They said that banks are now not allowed to engage in highly risky trades. What the hell is a highly risky trade? And who defines it? Well, they left that to a bunch of committees to figure out. And that's why the American Bankers Association has spent $100 million in the first quarter of 2012 lobbying all these committees. So we need to educate ourselves about the rulemaking that's going on around Dodd-Frank, and we need a union or other specific organizations to be lobbying on behalf of regular people, not bankers, to change finance. There's a lot of things in Dodd-Frank that could be helpful. They can also be useful, depending upon how these rules are made. And most people don't even know what's going on with the rules. So we need to educate ourselves. Those are some things that need to be done about that. I can answer questions. We also need to foster international cooperation on banking standards. We can't regulate any tiger that London regulates. London is known as the cowboy west of derivatives trading. You can do anything in London. There's very little regulation. We need to work with the UK, the Eurozone, and others to get a solid bunch of financial regulations that apply to the entire country. We also lobby to restore